What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing a pretty major spring clean out of one of my above ground ponds. Let's do it. So this is the pond in question, and quick overview, it's 500 litres, which is around about 130 gallons. It's ran by this bog filter and it is home to a handful of white cloud mountain minnows. Also, if you're interested and you haven't already seen it, I've actually got a full video on exactly how I made the bog filter. That being said, the plan for this video is to obviously clean out as much algae as we possibly can. I've also got a pre-filter down there, DIY pre-filter, so I want to get that out, give that a good clean out. There's also a water lily in there. I'm going to get that out and fertilise it. And finally, I'm going to treat it with some sort of like beneficial bacteria. So let's get on it. Just before we do that though, I'll just do a quick update on one of my other ponds. So this is the pond that I set up, it was like a couple of months ago now, and I've got a full like series on exactly how I made this pond. I think it was like 4 videos, like literally from putting the base down to planting it all up. But yeah, it's been set up for a couple of months now, and it's doing really well, it's crystal clear. A couple of little changes I have made. I've moved the air stone from the back to the front, and that was just because the bubbles were constantly splashing on the wood that holds the bog filter, so I thought probably best not to have that constantly wet. I've also added another little lily in there, and I've actually taken the watercress out because it grew loads and then died, and I think it's because it ran out of nutrients, because there's currently no fish in there producing any waste for the plants to feed on. But the other plants are all looking good, and the iris is just about to flower, I think, in the next couple of days. Fish wise though, we might be putting the first couple of fish in here tomorrow, because I might be doing a possible sort of like fish rescue sort of scenario thing. Sort of depends on a couple of things, but yeah, I might be putting the first couple of fish in there tomorrow. So if you're interested in seeing that, don't forget to hit the old subscribe button, because that'll probably be in a future video. That being said though, we do need to crack on with the clean out of this pond. So yeah, I'm going to start by getting out as much algae as I possibly can. So I've got a fair amount of algae out, but it's like the most horrible type of algae ever. Like, it's not like string algae, it literally just breaks up, so it's really difficult to get out. So I think that's about all I can get out for now. And I reckon the reason for this algae is because birds keep pooing in the bog filter. Like, it's literally got to the point now where down here I keep a poo spoon, and when the birds poo in it, I just have to like scoop it out with this little poo spoon. So if you've got birds pooing in your bog filter, just have a poo spoon. Right, I'm going to go and chuck this algae into a little plant storage area that I've got, just in case I accidentally scooped up any like fish fry. And then we will carry on. I think next up I'm going to see if I can get the, you can't really see, but I'm going to try and get the pre-filter out. Okay, so this is my DIY pre-filter, and it is basically, I think it's a kitchen caddy food waste container. Like, you put your food waste in there. It's got this little lid, which is handy because it holds all the sponges in position. So yeah, the pump just sits in there, loads of sponges on the top, and it's pretty important in a pond like this that has like little white clouds, because the little fry would easily get sucked into a pump. So this just completely protects the fry from being sucked up, and it also, it sort of filters out all the physical debris before it reaches the bog filter. So it just keeps everything a little bit more clear and allows the bog filter to run a little bit longer before it needs to be cleaned out. So what I'll do now is I'll take it all apart, I'll hose down all of the sponges. I'm not worried about killing the beneficial bacteria, that's what the bog filter is for. This is just to pre-filter out any particles and stop the fry from getting sucked in. So I'll do that now, and then we'll get it all put back together. So these sponges, considering I haven't cleaned this pre-filter out in probably like over a year, really aren't that dirty. But I'll give them a hose off anyway, and we'll get it all. So that's, there you can see the pump just sits in the bottom there, and then the sponges go over the top of it. So yeah, I'll give them a quick hosing off and we'll get it all put back together. Okay, there we go, pre-filter all cleaned out. So what I do is, it sits in the corner of the pond, and there is actually a little shelf down there, you can't really see it, but so it doesn't sit right on the bottom. And yeah, then what I do is I add a few stones on the top, which sort of naturalizes it, and also just sort of weights it down and holds it in position. So we'll get that back into the pond and get the pump running again. Okay guys, so that's the pre-filter all sorted. I've added the rocks in back over the top. That holds it all in position, stops it moving around. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to get the water lily out and put some of these growth balls into it. So I'll do that now. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that. That has made a right mess. I'm gonna have to clean all that out. It's also pulled out a load of val that I had planted in there. Pulled that all out with it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to sort this out. I'm gonna have to clean all that off, try and get these bits of val back into the pond. And yeah, I might have to repot that lily actually. So yeah, I'm gonna give that a clean off now. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Can't believe how many roots there are. But yeah, I've washed all the roots off, and I think I'm gonna have to cut a lot of that root off. And I think there's like a second plant in there. I'm not gonna like mess with it though. I think I'm just gonna add them like fertilizer balls in, whack a bit of gravel over the top, and just put it back into the pond, I think. Let me know what you think I should do with this lily. I think it does need to be repotted, but I don't think I've got any aquatic soil, so I might have to leave that for another day. So yeah, I'll put some gravel on the top and get it back in the pond, I think, yeah. Okay, so I've cut the roots off the bottom of that lily, and I've just put it in this bucket of water just to keep it hydrated whilst I rinse off a little bit of gravel to put over the top, and then we'll put the gravel on and get the fertilizer in. So I'll just go and rinse off some gravel quickly. Okay, so the gravel has been rinsed, and I've also been digging about in the shed, and I found myself some aquatic compost and an old planter basket. So I think I'm actually going to try and repot this lily. So I'm going to attempt to do that now. Okay, so it turns out we've got 3 separate plants. We've got the main plant and then 2 little baby plants. So I'm going to pot up all 3 of these water lilies. So we've got the aquatic compost. I've also found some potting grit, which is going to be perfect for on the top of these water lilies. And yeah, so we'll get that done, and hopefully it all goes well. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I'm doing here. So I've got the aquatic soil in the bottom, and you can see how I've positioned the water lily. Now this bit here, the end, that has to be above the soil line, but the end bit here, that can be below the soil line to hold it all in position. So what I'll do now is I'll add a little bit more aquatic soil on the top, making sure that this bit is not covered. And also you want to make sure it's up against the edge, because the water lily will grow that way. I mean, to be honest, this pot could do with being a little bit bigger for the size of this lily, but it'll be fine. So I'll add a bit more compost, the aquatic compost, get some of the fertilizer balls in, and then top it with some gravel. Okay, so that is one water lily potted up, fertilised and ready to go. And yeah, as you can see, the tuber there is still very much visible. If you bury that, it will probably rot, so just make sure you keep that visible. So what I'm going to do now is actually, I've got a bucket of pond water here. I'm just going to dip it into that because that will get off a lot of dust or bits and bobs that are over the plant just before I pop it into the pond. So I'll do that now and then we can get it into the pond. Okay guys, so that's the water lily in. It is looking pretty murky in there at the moment, but hopefully that will clear up over the next couple of days. The one last thing that I want to do though is to add a couple of pumps of Maintain for Ponds from Aquascape. It's like a all-in-one treatment. It mainly contains like a load of different beneficial bacteria, but it also contains a phosphate binder, which is good because phosphate is a big cause of algae in your pond, and it also contains a flocculant, which basically, I believe, like clumps together like fine particles to the point where it can be picked up by your filter media. So I'm going to put a couple of pumps of that in. So that's in. And what I'll do is I will see you in a couple of days and hopefully this will be crystal clear. Okay guys, so it is a few days later. The pond has cleared up nicely, so let's check it out. So here we go, nice and clear. You can now just about see all the way to the bottom. Obviously there's a little bit of algae still left, but that's to be expected. That will hopefully clear up over the next few days or weeks. Quite clearly see that pre-filter that we cleaned out. And if we have a look up in the bog filter, the watercress has started to put out some little flowers. So that's nice. What I'm going to do now is though, I'm going to give it a few hours, wait for it to get dark, and we'll come back out and see what it looks like at night, because I do think that it looks its best at night. So I'll see you in a few hours. Okay guys, so it's a few hours later. It is dark outside now, so let's go and have a little look at this pond. Okay, so looking good so far. Try not to bump into anything. Oh, there's a little white cloud. You can see all the way to the bottom. Got a bit of floating Valisnaria there. Not too sure how it'll do, but hopefully it'll be alright. Water lily is looking nice. That's the pre-filter that we cleaned out earlier. Yeah, it's looking very nice. Okay, I think that is going to bring us to the end of this video though. So if you have enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.